Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Erica, and today we're going to talk about all of the books I want to read before the end of the year. Alright, I decided to film this video today because there have been so many romance books that have been popping up that I've been seeing everywhere, and I just cannot wait to read so many of them, and there's just like not enough time, so they've just been sitting on my TBR and I stare at them all the time and think, I just want to read you, but so many books, so little time. So these are all the romances that I have been just looking at and wanting to drop everything to read right now. So I have like 7, I think, that I want to talk about today, so let's jump right in. The first book that I just cannot wait to read, it just came out a couple days ago, and that is Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is the second book, and don't know the name of the series, but it's the second book after Flawless by Elsie Silver, and I read Flawless last month and I loved it so much. Heartless is following Rhett's older brother Cade, and he's a single dad, and Willa is our main girl character, and she is the main character from the first book. It's her best friend. So Willa comes to town, and I think to be a nanny for Cade, and it ends up being like Grumpy Sunshine, and it's their romance, and I'm so excited for it. I loved Flawless so much, so I think Heartless is going to be amazing. I've heard people say that it's even better than Flawless, so I'm very excited. And it is an age gap, so I'm a little nervous about that aspect because I don't typically love age gaps, but I think it's not too big of an age gap, so it should be okay. But I'm definitely excited, and I can't wait to read that one. The next book that I cannot wait to read is Restore Me by J.L. Seegers. So I've seen this book in a couple different places lately, and it's supposed to be extremely angsty, and I am all about the angst, so it sounds like my type of book. And so I think this is a romance between a woman whose husband passed away and her late husband's best friend, and they hate each other for like a really long time, but then slowly those feelings turn into romantic feelings. And like I said, I've heard it's really angsty. It's obviously forbidden because it's her husband's best friend, and yeah, I am definitely excited for this one. Give me all the angst all the time. I just love an angsty read, and I've heard nothing but great things, so I'm definitely excited for this one. I think it's going to be an emotional one, but that's okay. The next book that I have to talk about is a fantasy romance book, and that is Daughter of No Worlds. So this is available on KU, and I've heard it's the best fantasy romance on KU. That's the reviews that this book has been getting, so it's highly talked about. Its rating on Goodreads is a 4.22, so that's obviously pretty good. I don't really know anything about this. I think she like goes on a journey and she meets someone along the way and it ends up being their romance, but there's obviously a lot of fantasy elements involved, and like I said, I don't want to know much more about this, but I've heard amazing reviews. Like, anyone that has talked about this book has said amazing things about it. And the cover is gorgeous. I love the cover. I might buy a physical copy so I can annotate it. But yes, that is the next book I am just dying to read right now. The next book I cannot wait to read. Everyone has been talking about it. It's been blowing up everywhere, and that is The Devil of Dublin by B.B. Easton. So this is a dark mafia, I think it's the Irish mafia, so dark Irish mafia romance, and I literally want to drop everything to read this book right now. Everyone is raving about it, saying it's like one of their favorite books ever. So obviously this is a mafia romance, and I think the hero is mute, which I find really interesting, and it's about a girl, I think, who's always known about this man, but she's been kind of more like intimidated by him, and it ends up being their romance. So I hope it's really good. Like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I just want to read it right now. And the cover for this is also really gorgeous, and I haven't read anything by B.B. Easton before, but apparently she wrote the book that was the inspiration for the Netflix show Sex Life, so that's interesting. That show is really good, so I'm hoping that I'll love this. The next book that I want to read so badly is Binding 13. So I think this is a new adult romance, and it's about a like college rugby player who is kind of like the star athlete at school. Everyone loves him and knows him, and then there's Shannon, which is our main female character, and she has been like really bullied in the past and has kind of like a bad past, and she goes to the college. She's really shy, and they end up kind of forming a friendship that turns into more than that. I've also heard literally nothing but good things about this book. People are obsessed with it, and I just want to know what all the hype is about. I also really love like college sport romances, so I think I would really like this one. And also I've heard this is also really angsty. The little blurb on Goodreads says, friendship, first love, rising fame, horrifying secrets, and pain all fueled together. And that sounds like my perfect book. So definitely excited for this one. The next book books that I really want to get to are the Eden series by Devney Perry. So this is Indigo Ridge, Juniper Hill, and Garnet Flats. And I think there's a fourth one coming out next year. But I really like Devney Perry as an author, and this series people have been loving it. I really am excited mostly to get to the second book, which is Juniper Hill. That seems to be everyone's favorite. But I want to read the whole series in order, so definitely want to get to those. These are like small town romances. I think there's usually a bit of suspense mixed in. I'm not really sure about that because I haven't read them yet. But the covers on these are also gorgeous, and I'm hoping I love them. Like I said, I really like Devney Perry, so those ones are definitely a high priority. The next book that I really just want to read is Ivy by Will and Ash, which is a pen name for Devney Perry. Ivy has been on my TBR for a really long time. This is supposed to be like academia, gossip girl type of situation, and I think it's about 3 girls that are in a college, and it's kind of about all 3 of their relationships, and they all have like secrets and things come out. It's a really long book, but I think it sounds really interesting, and it's definitely different than anything that Devney Perry has written before, so I definitely want to get to this one. I've also heard really amazing things for it, so definitely on my list of books I want to get to before the end of the year. The last book I really want to read before the end of the year is Between Hello and Goodbye by Emma Scott. I, once again, have heard amazing things about this. I haven't tried Emma Scott as an author before, so I really hope that I can try some new authors too and read them before the end of the year. But this is about a girl who's kind of like a party girl, but she's really good at her job, so her boss sends her to kind of take a vacation, and she goes to Hawaii, and she ends up going on a hike and spraining her ankle, and then she meets the hero, who is actually like a firefighter in Hawaii. So he comes to rescue her on this hike, and ends up being their romance, but she lives in Seattle and he lives in Hawaii, so it's like a long distance situation. So I think they have to deal with that, and they kind of are trying to stay apart from each other, but they can't stay apart from each other, and I think it's going to be really emotional, but really good. So those are all the books I'm hoping to get to before the end of the year. Let me know what books you want to get to before the end of the year, and I feel like I picked books that I actually like 5-star prediction books. So I'm excited to finish out the year strong, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.